You're listening to Therachronicles with Dr. Rosy and Dr. Krish. This health awareness series is brought to you by Therachron, tailoring therapy.
Hey, hello, I'm Dr. Rosy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Krish. We welcome you to the 7th episode of Season 1 of Therachronicles.
And today, we are going to talk to a daughter who is taking care of her diabetic parents.
So in our previous episode, we were in a conversation with a dietitian to throw some light on how the diet for a diabetic patient should be. If you missed out on the last episode, do click onto the link for the same in the description below.
Today, we are in conversation with Mrs. Joyita Gupta. Joyita is a human resource professional currently residing in Bangalore. In this episode, she will take us through her journey of having diabetes running in her family members.
Welcome to Therachronicles, Joyita. So it's a pleasure to have you with us. It'll be great if you can tell us about your work life.
So professionally, I am a human resource professional and I have been working for the last 15 years and have been associated with the pharma industry.
Great, Joyita. Please tell us a bit about Joyita, the person. Your hobbies or any other relevant stuffs that you would want our listeners to know about you.
Personal front, I am also a painter. I am passionate about painting and I'm a mother of one son who is 13 years old now, and I live with my parents and my husband in Bangalore.
Oh yes, I have seen your paintings on Instagram and they're really amazing. So coming to the topic at hand, that is diabetes, could you please share with us who in your family is diabetic? And on that note, how are they now?
So in my family, it's both my parents are diabetic. Towards my in-laws side, it's my brother-in-law and my mother-in-law who are diabetics.
And say roughly how old are they?
Yeah, so my father is in the age group of 70 to 80 and my mother is in the age group of 60 to 70. Brother-in-law is in the age group of 40 to 50 in that range. I missed my mother-in-law. She is also in the age group of 70 to 80.
Okay. So how do they generally take care of their health?
They are on oral medication throughout the time that they have been having this disorder, but that's how they have been managing. And there are various other ways how they try to, control diabetes. So it's by exercise, it's by healthy eating, it's by some amount of controlling over, eating. So that's how we have been managing it.
And they are all on oral medications only, or are they also on insulin?
No. So unfortunately, that's where the kind of cities that we have lived in and we have grown, unfortunately, insulin was not prevalent in those cities. So that's how they have been on oral throughout their life.
And just to reconfirm, Joyita, so all of them are suffering from type 2 diabetes, right?
Yeah, it's all type 2.
How long has it been since they are on medication?
My father has been under medication for almost more than, I would say, 20 years. It's been pretty long, I would say, that he has been under medication for diabetes. Say when he was in his 40s, that time it got detected, late 40s. My mother has been under the medication since last 3 years. So it's 3 years that she has been detected with diabetes. It's just a precautionary mild dose of medication that she is on.
What I have noticed is that the first diagnosis of diabetes is a big deal. Many patients and even their families react very strongly to this. Though majority of them get used to the fact and the changed lifestyle pretty soon. Please tell us how your family members got diagnosed with diabetes. Was it a coincidental finding in one of those routine checkups, or did they develop any symptom?
It was all through symptoms. We as, Indians, unfortunately, we do not do some pre-checkup. So it's all through symptoms that they felt they should undergo the test, and that's how it was detected.
So Joyita, what were the symptoms that you noticed in your parents that made you want to get them tested for diabetes?
Yeah, it's the general symptoms that mostly we realize, which is like your tiredness, fatigue. Sometimes even your smelly urine also is one of the symptoms. So that's how we kind of thought of getting it checked.
So when your parents got diagnosed with diabetes, What was the reaction of the family members?
It was just okay. I mean, of course, in the long run, it is something which affects in a big way. But again, it was kind of normal reaction, not that something came as a shock to all of us.
And what all lifestyle changes did you all incorporate in your parents' life to adapt to this condition in relation with diet and the daily schedule?
Yeah. I mean, there was quite an amount of modification in terms of the eating habits, how much oil to consume, how much salt to consume. So everything was kind of measured and kept a check upon. Lifestyle habits were also brought in. He started to do walks, regular walks and all. Like I have seen my mother doing it regularly now. She is regularly into her, she does her evening walks at least once a day. She does do the walks because it controls the body metabolics and which helps in controlling the blood sugar levels. So that's how they have been.
Correct. So Joyita, I have known you and your family very closely. And if my memory serves me right, then I remember that your father was a big-time foodie. So how was this transition for him to a regulated diet? Was it difficult for him to adjust?
No. So, you know what? I mean, it's not only my father. I have seen a lot of people who are big-time foodies and there are restrictions brought into their lives. But again, it's like there could be some cheat days. I mean, we all have that. But again, proper measures have to be taken. So it's not that we do not go out for eating or he doesn't eat sweets at all. He does eat sweets, but again, we keep a check on the sugar levels. So everything happens in a very measured manner.
Now, since you said that your father has been living with diabetes for a long time now, has there been any emergency situation where he had to be rushed to the hospital suddenly?
Not really. I don't remember.
Okay.
For diabetes, no.
So, did they develop any other health condition because of diabetes? Or did diabetes aggravate any other coexisting health issues in them?
Yes, since the last, I would say 7-8 years, there has been diabetes neuropathy that has got in him. You know, the legs have become weak and he needs time to rest while he is walking. So that's something which we have realized has developed over the years.
You're listening to Therachronicles with Dr. Rosy and Dr. Krish. This health awareness series is brought to you by Therachron, tailoring therapy.
Well, you mentioned that both your parents have been living with diabetes for a really long time. Can you please give us a brief idea how your parents go through the whole day?
Yeah, it's kind of a routine because everything happens at a timely manner. They eat their breakfast, starting from their morning tea. One of my parents even go down for a walk in the morning. They will come back and breakfast happens at a specific time. They cannot have late breakfast. Lunch also happens at a very timely manner. We do try for a mid-morning snack, maybe some fruit or anything could be. So it's something, a healthy lifestyle again with proper, eating times which are well defined and they kind of stick to it. So it's everything happens in a very disciplined manner.
So, Joyita, what is your experience like as a caregiver to your parents who are both suffering from diabetes, and how are you going through it?
A person who is having diabetes, they are themselves quite well aware about that fact and they themselves kind of, get tuned to it. My role comes where that, I have to keep a check on the time to time blood sugar checks that they do. So I kind of keep a check on that level and proper medications they are taking. So I do keep a check. I do talk to them. I do try to understand. So it's more about talking more about understanding if they have any other difficulties around it, if they are experiencing something new, some health issues. So that's what I would say the role of a caregiver is, because they are not having diabetes now, they're having it from long. They themselves are an expert in that in it now by now. So they are quite well adept about that part, I would say.
That is a really good and interesting insight.
Yes.
How does it work for you? Do you keep tabs on the calendar or set reminders? How?
Yeah. So, of course, I try to keep a gap of 6 months. It can be before that also. I do not believe in changing medications too frequently, because I have realized the moment I take them to a doctor, there will be some modification in the medication, and so I personally don't believe in that. I believe that whichever medicine they are comfortable with and they have been using for long, the body has got used to it, so it's better to continue with that. But at the same time, there are like timely checks which needs to be done, so which is 6 months is good enough as a period to visit a doctor. Sometimes 8 months also. Even like we have a doctor here, she's fine with us visiting her in 8 months, but again thorough checkups needs to be done, thorough tests need to be done.
And do you regularly keep a track of their blood glucose level at home?
No, I have not been doing that, but of course every 2 or 3 months we do get the pathology one done, so that many a time we just check it and we do not visit the doctor, so that's just for our reference we do the checks.
And how has the whole pandemic and the lockdowns that we have had affected the caretaking and the management of their lifestyle as diabetic patients?
It has affected, especially initial, few months they were kind of locked in the house, which I could feel it also had an effect on them, their emotional well-being also, because they were kind of restricted inside the house with no interaction with the outside world and all. And especially in terms of medication, I would say luckily we kind of got the supplies on time. But again, I remember at one point of time, the medicine which my mother was taking, there was a shortage of that, So we did face these kind of concerns during the lockdown time. Doctor visits were delayed. But again, doctors were ready to do phone consulting and all. So the last time I took my mother was some 2 months back, and that's when she told that you need not come back again for the follow-up. You can do a teleconsultation. That's what I said. Like that, things changed. There was a modification in how we used to approach doctor earlier and now. So those were the changes we could see.
How about their blood tests and their lab reports? Any challenges in getting them done?
First of all, to be honest, the checks and all kind of got delayed. We kind of, there was almost a 6 months period where we did not get the blood sugar levels checked because of the fear that somebody will come to the house and take the samples and all. So we did delay on that part. But later on, towards after October, I think, we kind of got somebody at home and we got the blood samples collected. But there was no delay because these days the report comes online. You need not go back to again collect it, so that is pretty much on time.
Can you tell us anything that can help you or be useful in providing better care to your family members with diabetes?
Yeah, to keep a check on in terms of the timelines, everything for that matter, when the test should be done, when should we visit the doctor. These checks, if can be done, that's something good.
Well, now, are you worried about your chances of developing diabetes since your father is diabetic himself?
Yes, of course. I have, quite high chances of having diabetes in the future. So that's something I'm well prepared about. If it happens, it happens like that. So I do regular checkups of blood sugar levels.
Well, though it certainly leaves you with a risk of developing diabetes. However, the good news is that diabetes can be controlled and the complications can be prevented or delayed if you are taking adequate self-care of yourself.
Thank you, Joyita.
Thank you, Dr. Rosie and Dr. Krish, for having me on Therachronicles. I wish you all the very best.
So, this was Joita Gupta, a human resource employee. In today's episode, she shared her experience with her diabetic parents. And to find out more on how physical activity, especially traditional forms of working out like yoga, can affect diabetic care, watch out for the next episode of Therachronicles, where we will be talking to Pooja Venugopal. Pooja is a chemical engineer who did her MSc in yoga from S. Vyasa University and is a certified yoga trainer and holistic healthcare expert. In this episode, she will share her insights and experiences with her diabetic clients.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Therachronicles. Found it useful? Share it with your friends and family. Hear us offline by downloading the episodes. Follow this podcast to stay updated with the latest in health awareness. We would love to hear from you at therachroniclespodcast@gmail.com.
The interviews present personal opinions of the guests and are generic in nature. Therachronicles and Therachron does not endorse to the opinions expressed by the guests. We understand that every individual is different and requires customized care. Your doctor knows the best, and the advice, opinions, and suggestions in the interviews are not an alternative to your doctor's opinion. Consult with your personal physician and experts before implementing any changes in your lifestyle, medication, and therapy. Therachronicles or Therachron does not have any endorsements or financial interests with any of the products, medicines, medical equipment, or brands mentioned by the guests in the interview.